Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley. I am a licensed therapist, and I am going to watch the last two episodes of the Ted Lasso season 2, and hear, see what I think about it. Given that I've done some videos on it before, I'm curious to see if my thoughts hold up or if I was wrong, if I read it wrong. We'll see what happens. So I haven't seen them, and you'll see me react as I go. And it's probably helpful if you've already seen the episodes, because I'm not going to show the whole thing of me watching it for time, but I am excited to go through this and see what happens. So let's get started.
Take a bow, Sam Obisanya. The first half.
Just want to stop to say I need to really be effusive about Sam. Sam is one of my favorite characters of all time. I can't help but feel joy watching this person, and I'm really curious to know what he's like in real life, because I feel such joy looking at him, and when he smiles, I feel the best I've ever felt in my entire life. Anyway, let's keep going.
Dr. Sharon's last day is tomorrow. We're all chipping in to get her something special.
What did you decide on?
An envelope of cash.
FYI, again, this is TV land. It's different. She's around them Dr. Sharon is around them all the time. So it's a different vibe, but generally gift giving is really, it can mean so many things in the therapy situation, like the impulse to give a gift, whether or not the therapist receives it. What is the dynamic between the two of them? It can mean so many things to give a gift. So lots of therapists aren't in the habit of accepting the gift, unless you want to really explore the deeper meaning of it and what's going on. So, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but it is interesting that Ted wants to give a gift. Right now, I would be wondering or thinking, why does he think he's burdened her and he needs to give something back? Is he feeling guilty for having needed her and used her? Does he, and I think that there's also, of course, appreciation and genuine gratitude. And, I appreciate that. But the need to give a gift is a step beyond, and it's a professional relationship technically. So a gift isn't required, but anyway, we'll see how this goes. Because also Ted would be prone to feeling like he can't depend on people, and would feel guilty when he actually does get to, and would feel like he's been a lot or been too much or really taking up space or something. And I think it would prompt him to want to give more.
Who is Edwin Akufu?
His father owns the largest tech firm in Ghana.
Wait a second, I thought I did.
Okay, yeah, Ted and the jokes. And they're sort of cute, but I could also find them tedious because it's just like, come on, let's just be in this moment together without needing to always set off any kind of possible tension with a joke. And this reminds me, there are some comments I've gotten. If anything I say offends you, or you feel like, well, wait, I do that too. Look, we all do all of these things that I'm commenting on. So I relate to everything I'm commenting on. I can also do. I do get it, and yet I'm going to comment on what I see. So we're all in this together. None of us are immune to these weird things that we all do.
Hi, I've got the suit Ted bought you back from the dry cleaners.
Oh, it's my suit. The second Ted gave it to me, ownership transferred, and it became my suit. Well,
we know how I feel about Nate. It's more of the same. Like, geez, like, you're that sensitive, where, like, to be set off by that, like, just imagine how fragile it is inside of him. I mean, it's so fragile in there. Oh, it's so tenuous. Anything could set him in the wrong direction.
That's fun. Okay, today, let's go ahead and try out your fake 9.
false 9.
Hey, this looks very nice.
Thank you. Here we go again. Give Ted yet another idea he'll take all the credit for.
Because it's this team thing, and for Nate, it's all about I. It's all about needing desperately that personal glory and needing the personal validation. So while a team has been his way in to his personal glory, he doesn't really have an interest or I don't even know if he can conceive of what it really would feel like or be like to have a real team feeling and to really appreciate contributing and being part of something bigger than himself. So it doesn't seem like that's what he's in it for. He wants the personal glory. Now, we all do on some level, so I can get that in some way, but there's this way that he is so belligerent about it. He's so upset about it and frustrated by it that's different from what many people experience. Like, some of us can experience that, but not be so frustrated by it. He's getting into a more demanding place when he really still hasn't worked his way all the way up to being the one in charge necessarily at this point. Like, he still has a ways to go. He's working his way up, but I think that's intolerable to him to keep being lower on the totem. Even though he's the only one that feels bad about it, I don't think anybody looks at him like he's lower. He's looking at himself like he is. And so it's just painful and too much for him. He wants to be the best. He wants to be at the top. That's the only way he can feel good about himself. Like that millisecond of Beard noticing what's happening, because he is the one who will notice all the undercurrents, all the threads connecting everyone, all the things that are a little bit underneath the surface and a little more hidden. Because he's more quiet and observant, he picks up on a lot more, and you can generally look to him for a sense of what's really going on.
Jeez, I was told your training would be finished by now.
Oh, that's okay. Hakuna Matata, right? Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think right here we see again the same dynamic with Ted and anyone that could come in that is asserting any kind of dominance or authority or whatever. Like, Ted immediately neutralizes it, and he's pretty skilled at it. He neutralizes it. He makes it goofy. He makes it fun. Whereas maybe somebody else would just stay intimidated and quiet, or want to impress their power back onto the person. Ted gets goofy and neutralizes it. I'm someone that I really like staying with the meat of the moment and the feeling of the moment and just get into it so we can get through it. So I get annoyed by someone like Ted trying to like lighten it and move us away from it. Although really necessary and helpful a lot of times, nonetheless.
Sure. Wonderful. After you.
I want to say something about Rebecca's like nod to him and her smile, and it's very it's actually supportive. She doesn't give away any like feelings in that, because I read that as her letting him go beyond this journey and not wanting to restrict him in some way, being very worried on the inside. And I love that, and I love anytime any parent does that for a child, anytime any partner does that for another partner. Like, instead of restricting them by making them take care of your feelings about what they're about to do or your anxiety about what they're about to do, you free them up to go have their own experience and then come back to you later. I just really appreciate that. So maybe he'll go talk to this person and figure out he doesn't want to do it, or maybe he will, but it won't be because he feels beholden to her because of her feelings. It'll be because he wants to stay or doesn't want to stay.
Hi. Oh, no! Oh, sorry. You got me.
Wow, I didn't expect you to be here.
Me neither.
What can I do for you?
Well, I just wondered if you'd mind helping me pick out a fancy suit.
I just think with that scene with Nate and Keeley, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's easy to get pulled in by the humanity of that moment and the humanity of Nate, like, needing help and having some insecurity about a suit, feel into the humanity. And then the problem, it can be that you get so pulled into that you don't see how problematic they are otherwise, and you only focus on the insecurity that you naturally want to care for or take care of. Meanwhile, he's being a dick to other people. So for me personally, you take both sides of Nate with indifference. So the insecure side and the like mean side, like take them both with indifference, because that way you stay balanced even when he's not staying balanced in himself.
The other thing I want to point out about that scene with Keeley and Nate is that he's in her office, in her space, sitting in her chair, holding her furry pillow. And there's a lack of boundary there. Like, it's sort of odd that he would do that. It's like you would normally ask to be in someone's space or knock to get in there, but he's just in there, in her space. And that can happen with narcissists a lot, where narcissists don't distinguish between self and other. Others are just pawns to be moved around, which is why it's interesting that Nate is, on a team and wants to be a coach where he can literally move people around to suit his needs. That's what he's into.
Art fundraiser tonight. For 20 quid, you can buy your kids art. For 40, I'll send it home with you already in a rubbish bin.
That's a solid business model.
I mean, am I crazy? I thought this last time that Roy was with this teacher. Is their chemistry not off the charts? I don't know. I just feel a vibe between them. Woo!
Sam's a really great player.
One of the best we got.
But do I want him to stay because of my feelings for him?
Good question.
We really work great together. But if he wants to go, I shouldn't stand in his way.
I could not agree more.
But if I let him go, I might regret it for the rest of my life.
Oh, turns out I could.
What I would say in the case of someone like Rebecca in this situation, what I would tell her as her friend is express all of the thoughts to Sam. Say all of that to him, and how she doesn't want to inhibit him or get in his way, but just say all of it to him and let him know all of her thinking.
Good, I can't even look at you.
Thanks, Jocko. Oi, how you doing in there, babe?
God, this place is so posh. I feel like I'm not supposed to be here.
He loves being there. He doesn't feel like he shouldn't be there. He loves being there. He loves what it says about him that he would be in there.
Yeah.
Roy never does this stuff with me. He's always like, I'm Roy again. Why do I need to go shopping? I already own.
Roy is the person that Nate feels most competitive with because he has taken up space in the coaching room, and he wants all of that space. He wants the attention, and so he wants to take what's Roy's, which is Keeley also. So for her to be making fun of him, I think, Nate may read that as like there's an in or an opening or something, because of course he misreads it, as he do.
I just want to say about the character of Keeley, the thing I love about that character is they make this woman, she's feminine, she has a social media life, but they make her smart and giving and caring and glue between a lot of people. And I love the depth that they give her character. Because it would be it's easy to characterize people who are into what she's into and who've gotten fame the way that she has as being a certain type of person that's shallow or lacking depth in some way. And I don't actually think that's true. And I like that they present her in this way.
Sophie.
So, do you ever feel like you want to be the boss?
Yeah. I mean,
Woo! What I'm sensing at this point is him developing feelings because a woman is praising him and giving him lots of attention, and he has no ability to decipher between a woman who's genuinely being caring and helpful to him and just excited and just free in how she responds and reacts, and someone who's actually interested in him and attracted to him. And so he's probably misreading it, and he's probably starting to get very attracted to her. That's my guess. And he's heard the stuff about what she's saying about Roy, and he may be thinking in his head that there's an in or something.
she wasn't brave enough to dream big. So, I decided to do things very differently.
so grossed out by him for some reason. I'm having a very visceral reaction to them being very close and her looking at Nate and him thinking whatever he's thinking. I don't know.
People like you and I, we can't help but dream big.
She does it without being a shit.
You need to stop wondering.
Whoa!
God, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
It's okay.
You guys. Woof. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say again, Nate doesn't actually have a model for understanding someone like Keeley and what she's saying and the help she's offering. He can only read that as she must be attracted to me. He can't read it any other way. It's not the worst thing in the world to misread a situation, but it's wild considering that he works with Roy and has to have a relationship there. So if you think about Nate's mind, like, it's wild that he went there and he went into that place of thinking that. Is she close and being friendly? Yes, but she's actually not being flirty. She's kind of just being her genuine, effusive self and helpful self. She's not actually being flirty. I think there's a difference. And so he immediately feels that self-loathing, projects it out with the spit at himself in the mirror. But again, it's that same method he uses of getting it out, getting the bad feeling out.
Keep in mind that Keeley is all of us in that moment because she is pulled into what appears from Nate like shame or regret. And he probably is feeling shame, but it's not the same as some of us would feel it. He's really more afraid of how he looks and how he appears than he is concerned about what he's done to Keeley or Roy and the relationships.
Ted, how long have you been standing out here?
A long time. And I really got to use the John too, but I'm going to hold it a little bit longer because I'm so dang ticked off at you.
Of course, it's strange that he's finding her and waiting for her. I mean, in real life, this would be strange if a patient did that with me, but yeah, you know, what's important in this moment is he feels like he can be ticked off with her, even if it's in his very Ted neutralized way. He feels like he can be ticked off of her, which is great.
Thanks for carrying out.
How could you just leave?
Sorry, I'm not good with goodbyes.
Yeah.
Okay, not being good with goodbyes. It is, I mean, and I'll just go ahead and say this, in therapy in general, it's people, of course, leave therapy whenever they want to leave therapy. Ideally, though, we get to have a last session, even if it's like you're mad at me and you just want to go and it's not working. Ideally, even then, we could have a last session where we say goodbye. And we call it the termination session. So whether that's like we've decided together this is the ending, or whether it's because you're pissed and you want to go, or it's just not working, it's really important to talk about it and say goodbye and to have that discussion around it so that you can actually move on from there. Say, this is what I think happened, and to reflect together on what happened. You see it and how the other person sees it and what it means. Just to feel that together and have that moment together is important. So her not being good at goodbyes is very flip, and I guess it's in keeping with her character, but it is not ethical.
Did you get my letter?
Yes.
Did you read it?
No. Heck, we got you a gift. Spoiler alert, it's a bunch of cash.
Thank you.
I thought I was at least going to get a chance to say goodbye to you. I mean, my wife left me, my dad left me. You, more than anyone in the world, knows how I feel when I get abandoned. And you just left.
Well, especially given what he just said, that his being abandoned, that's why. I don't know what is in the letter. I don't know what she's alluded to. A letter is still not the same as an actual face-to-face goodbye, or at least over video goodbye these days. But for someone who has been abandoned, it's so important to have that last session and to have that real goodbye, whatever that might look like. And actually, because it helps soften goodbyes and separations for him, whereas I think they've been so difficult for him, this is a chance to repair some of that feeling around goodbyes and to do it differently and to feel differently about it and handle it differently.
We did, Ted. Thanks to you, I've learned that expressing my vulnerabilities can help my patients with theirs.
I noticed this in the episodes after the one I analyzed with the two of them. That is a little too icky for me to tell a patient, you expressing my vulnerabilities helps me, you helped me be a better therapist. I know that sounds nice, but it's a little icky. And really takes the attention away from Ted and puts the focus on her and her need and what's going on for her internally, and takes it away from him. And as the person in authority and as the therapist, she has a responsibility to make sure that stays focused on him. Now that might be going on for her, this like work on herself, but I actually don't think it's appropriate to share that with a patient, just because you never know how that's going to be taken in. And it is in keeping with the dynamic where Ted has a hard time being the one who's sick or in need. And he has really needed to, I think it helps him to feel like she's in need too. And actually he needs to feel what it's like to just be the one who has a need and has it met, and it's okay. And he doesn't have to meet anybody else's need. I actually think that's more important for him.
Very good, man.
Feel more comfortable writing goodbye than saying it.
But the letter and the space that letter fucking takes up in this goodbye, again, we've yet to hear like what goodbye means to Ted. So he's got a letter, he's reading her feelings and her thoughts, and we have yet to hear about what the goodbye means for him. And so I don't like the intrusive way the letter comes into it. In ways she said goodbye is actually more intrusive than just having faced him face to face and letting him express what it's like and what it's meant to him, and to reflect something meaningful back to him about the place of this goodbye in his life.
Want to grab a drink? I'm buying.
Inappropriate. TV land, fun. Real life, inappropriate. And we still haven't heard Ted's feelings about goodbye. Maybe they're going to make this drink a place where something gets processed for him about goodbye. Do I support it in real life? No. Am I entertained? Yes. Sadness therapist having a great time over a drink, as you do. No, you don't.
Hey, this one's gonna be on me. Actually, you know what? No, it's still gonna be on you, Dr. Moneybags.
I don't find it cute. I mean, I can see how it would be cute. I don't find it cute, the little action figure. I know it's a reference to earlier times in the season, but I am unenthused about this. I don't like this goodbye. I guess in a way, but like, did Ted actually process goodbye? He actually opened up to somebody, and has he actually processed saying goodbye and what that really means to him to lose that? Vile. Okay. I guess that's not surprising. For my first thought watching that is like, oh, I mean, I know no one wants their personal business, and having a panic attack is personal business. Someone wants that out there, but like, okay, many people have panic attacks. It's not something to be ashamed of. But then we see it's from that the source was Nate, and Trent Crimm's just stirred up some drama. That sounds in keeping with what we know about Nate at this point. And I think it's vile. And that maybe I think it's vile because there are people like him in the world. There are many people like him in the world. And it's gross. It's just gross. Ted, despite whatever flaws, he means well with most people in his life. He really does. And I think it's an interesting dynamic between Nate and Ted at this point, because Ted really doesn't like to sit in bad feelings. He's gonna have to feel something about Nate that he doesn't like right now. And I'm curious to see how that's gonna go, what he's gonna do with it. Ted likes things light and happy. So I'm just curious how this is gonna play out. Well, I guess those are my thoughts and feelings for now. I am so curious to see the final episode, the finale, and see how this all plays out. And I will watch that and review, and you'll see my reaction to that as well. And if I have any other thoughts, at this point, I think everything I thought before has pretty much stayed the same. Honestly, it's hard to have felt the way I did about Nate in the first season and to feel this feeling toward him now. That's icky. And actually, I think that is useful for real life to think about in real life, because that's what
actually
can happen.
Think we saw Nate doing in the first season was being in a more submissive phase, and he'll be submissive as long as he is idealizing the person. And so he was idealizing Ted, and so he'll submit and do whatever he can for him. But as soon as he is upset by Ted in some way, he turns and he devalues him and finds ways to hurt him. And that's what we're seeing now.
What would help Ted in this scenario is to be indifferent to Nate, and
is that in Ted's position, it's important to not be taken in by either the idealization from someone like Nate or the devaluation. Just for one's own sanity, you would want to stay indifferent to both ends of that so that you don't get pulled in either way.
Don't get pulled into the need and the insecure place in them, and don't get pulled in and dragged in by the cruel part of their personality and the projections. But thank you for watching if you've gotten this far, and I hope to see you in the next one in the season finale. Bye.